Hello and welcome to our show. We've changed the lighting for this episode.
Yeah.
It feels a bit cozier. I'm not sure if I like it.
It's like 9 o'clock at night when we're
It is 9
recording
o'clock at night, yeah, so things have changed in terms of the time of day and so on. Yeah, I don't know.
Guess what else has changed? Oh, the intro title.
Oh, yeah.
Have a look at this new one.
Let's have a look at it. Yeah, go on.
That better reflects what we stand for.
Yeah, our new communist values.
Yeah.
We are now an extremely
I was
left-wing
genuinely
channel.
putting thought into the Soviet Union colours, but
Yeah, you want
it
to
did
honour it.
look
You
a
want-
little bit like a Happy Meal, actually. You know, the yellow and red.
Yeah.
It was with... It wasn't,
Probably the most capitalist thing
yeah.
as an emblem of
exactly,
capitalism. The Happy Meal's got to be up there, right? You know,
Absolutely.
fast food for young children.
The colours of the Soviet Union as
Yeah.
well. So
Anyway, this one's about Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
This is a Resident Evil 2 special.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome. It's going to be information about Resident Evil 2 Remake, which is coming out very soon, on the 25th of January, but more on that in a sec. Also a history lesson, because of course that is the kind of thing that we do. Also, we have played the Resident Evil 2...
The demo, the OneShot demo it's called.
The OneShot demo. We've all played that, and we'll tell you a little bit about what we think about that, because that's what happens on gaming channels. Take it away, Mike. We live in the age of remakes. You know, stuff that you enjoyed in the olden days, only again. Remakes of games, remakes of films, remakes of biscuits. We live in an age, in fact, where a remake can be one of the most exciting things about the year ahead. I'm talking, of course, about the upcoming remake of Resident Evil 2, a game that did shambling zombies so bloody well that it tricked reviewers in the 90s into thinking it's not really a video game, but actually a cinematic experience. This game, the game that you're looking at right now. That's real. That's a real thing that reviewers in the 90s were saying about this game. It wasn't all glowing though. One reviewer at the time criticised the plot of Resident Evil 2 for being a bit far-fetched. Resident Evil 2 Remake is out on PC, PS4 and Xbox One on January the 25th. Now that's a Friday if you're interested. Promising to take you back to the glory days of the 1990s when literally nothing bad was happening because I was 8 years old or something. The original Resi 2 released on PlayStation in 1998 and used fixed camera positions, old-fashioned tank controls, and crucially, it looked like arse. Or at least it does when you look at it now. It looked amazing back in the day. It was a genuine improvement over the first Resident Evil. The Resi 2 Remake will of course offer glorious new graphics as well as a claustrophobic over-the-shoulder camera position straight out of Resident Evil 4, as well as an approach to gameplay straight out of Resident Evil 4. It's built on the same engine that made 2017's first-person Resident Evil 7 such a treat to play and to look at, and I mean treat in the horrified, disgusted sense of the word. Of course. A brief 30-minute demo is already out on the various platforms if you want to get a taste of what the game has to offer. It's a bit brief, but it does give you a decent slice of a pretty iconic part of the game, and gives you a sense of just how the remake has changed things up and how it's added things. Based on what we've seen and experienced with the demo, you should expect the remake to be every bit as claustrophobic and atmospheric as the original. On a personal note, I have to say the inventory system and the way that you interact with stuff in the world is just an absolute joy. Now that does sound boring, I understand that, but trust me, you'll know what I mean when you play it. It's in stark contrast to the inventory and item interaction of the original, which is just such a ball ache. But the biggest thing about Resident Evil 2, the remake, is without question the zombies. Something the game's creators have admitted was something they did struggle with. It's quite difficult now to make zombies scary because, well, they're fucking everywhere, aren't they? Ironically enough, the very thing that used to make zombies scary, I mean, it makes them not scary anymore. Because zombies are so ubiquitous in pop culture, the Resident Evil team had to do something different to ramp up the fear factor. The new claustrophobic camera position, coupled with some creepy zombie behaviour, crafty hiding places, great animation, and wonderfully tense gameplay pacing. I mean, it takes a fair few shots to get these things down, just as it did in the olden days. They might just have produced the scariest Resident Evil since, well, I mean, Resident Evil 7, to be fair. Okay, so you played the OneShot demo.
Yeah.
As well as Liam, who's standing there. What did you think?
I very much enjoyed it. Yeah, sure. So I didn't actually finish it.
Did you say shut up?
No, sure, I said.
Sure, right.
Yeah,
I very much enjoyed it. Shut up.
Yeah, stop asking me about it. I don't want to
sorry.
talk about it,
Sorry.
okay? I don't want to talk about it. I enjoyed it, yeah. Unlike the other two, I didn't finish it. I got timed out because I was just meandering about, climbing upstairs and looking at statues and looking at scribbles and going, oh, hang on.
Yeah, a gameplay, method that I can admire, because that is generally.
Yeah. I don't realise I was that much of a dawdler until, like, you've got that 30 minutes looming over you. And Liam had sent a screenshot that he'd finished it in 17 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Of course he has, because he's a fucking expert. He's just been outlining to me the differences, actually, between the demo and the original one, right? Anyway, the point is, I had that, and it really got into my head, but I thought, do you know what? No, I'm not going to let it. I'm going to take my time. And I did that a bit too much. I overcompensated. And what happened was I didn't finish the demo. But I did get to see lots of zombies, which is what you want. And I did see lots of spooky corridors.
So what did you think of those zombies? Because I thought they were really good.
They're the best zombies I've seen in the game. The movement is amazing.
That sounds like such shit, like, criticism. I'm sure we both really mean that. Good zombies in this. Like, genuinely very good zombies.
Yeah, and you take that for granted because a zombie is just like, oh, a zombie.
Yeah.
But on this, it's like, a zombie. They move, shamble around.
Yeah. Take your State of Decay zombie, for example. Nothing wrong with it. It's fine.
Common field zombie.
It's good, yeah. Your common State of Decay field zombie.
Yeah.
It's alright, but there's something about these ones, behaviour and stuff, they just seem to react in interesting ways. Yeah. They're animated really well. Their behaviour is creepy. The lighting is
that is it. Zombies have become, because zombies obviously represent a huge, massive brain dead things. It really takes up any weight that a zombie will hold now, because we see them in games. They are completely disposable. But in this one, every zombie has a weight to it. Like, when it's there, it feels scary. It feels well placed.
Makes you think about what you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the nature of the game, very much so. But the fact that it still managed to make zombies scary, actually each zombie encounter like scary, is something I didn't think they were going to do.
100%.
I honestly didn't think they were going to do it.
No, I'm with you there. So as was covered in the voiceover there, this is a full-on remake of a game, which is, and it just looks and behaves quite differently to what the original game, because of the way that it's presented to you. It's more like the sort of, it's the Resident Evil 7 engine, and it controls like Resident Evil 4, where you've got like that, over the shoulder thing, and you just kind of get a different perspective on the game that you got back then. They've added places, like Liam was literally just telling us about some of the additions that he's noticed to the game.
Extra bathroom.
Yeah, extra bathroom. That was one.
Yeah.
And it just, it's a different sort of experience. And then they've managed to make it work. And I thought the demo was creepy. There's a lot of tension, but that might be something to do with the time limit, because I played it for like 20 minutes and I was like, meandering through, enjoying my time. And then in the last 10 minutes, I was like, oh shit, I need to see the ending. Just the kind of rushing around, it just felt quite a tense experience. But it was really promising. Totally did the thing that it should have done, which was like make me want to play more of it. I really, really want to play more of it. And I was looking forward to it anyway, but the demo has completely cemented my sort of anticipation. Like, I really can't wait to keep playing it now, because 30 minutes is just like it's just like an agonising amount of game time. Like, you just want to play more.
Because it's like, it's enough to get you interested.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like if you've ever been to like a convention like E3, EGX, Gamescom, sometimes you get like 10 minutes on a game, right?
Yeah, which is like, what's the point?
Yeah, but when you get this 30 minutes, you'll be like, it'll stick with you, and you'll be thinking about it for days, right? So I think that with this, the demo's getting people who have already played the game really excited to see how they do the city bit and this and that. Yeah. So this is how they did the police station like lobby and stuff like that.
Yeah, which was absolutely, I just thought it was cracking. I thought it was really good. They give you a lot of space to explore, which is probably why they had such a time limit on it. So as for like specifics, what I thought was really good and really promising, the lighting and the atmosphere and the pace of the gameplay, I thought was excellent. Like, it, each zombie encounter, I felt like it counted. I felt like anxious. I really don't get, I play a lot of horror games and I like horror games, but I don't get scared really playing games in the way I would like watching a film. But I did feel like anxiousness, and I was like, oh shit, and I was like carefully looking into rooms and stuff. So it totally works on the horror level for me. Like in a very specific detail that I've got to say I liked was the inventory, because Resident Evil for me has been pretty shit with like inventory stuff in like some of the installments. I can't remember which one, if it was like 5 or 6, or one of them I just found really annoying. Like, I had to press too many buttons to get stuff done. But this was like super snappy. It's really intelligent. Like, you pick up ammo, it's already going, do you want to combine this with the ammo that you've already got? And all that sort of stuff, and it just makes complete sense. So picking stuff up and activating items and interacting with the world happens really quickly, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that it just happens. Whatever you want to happen, it just works instantly.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing about the PS 1 and 2 era games that were like survival, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, obviously the big ones, is it a lot of time was spent in menus, looking at maps and stuff like that. And that's little things that you could skim out now with clever button placement, you know, one button to bring your map up straight away, and the load times to pause and unpause are greatly reduced, and stuff like that. Already kind of being smart and knowing where you want to put stuff will give you more time inside the scary, oppressive world, rather than the safety of a menu, which secretly everyone likes because it gives you that bit of respite between fucking brain hungry zombies. I really, really liked it, and I think for a lot of people who remember the original one, it's gonna be the big anticipated title of the month, maybe the next couple of months. But if you haven't ever played Resident Evil 2 before, because Resident Evil 1's had the treatment a bunch of times, there's even on the PS4, PlayStation Store now.
It was like remade and then pretty much, and then that was like remastered.
There's like a bunch of different versions on it. It's been ported a few times, but 2 didn't seem to get as much love as from what I know.
No,
but you know,
now is the time, and this is just I mean, it's very promising. That's all I think we should say.
Liam's going to tell you about it anyway, because obviously he's always chronicling old and Japanese stuff, and Resident Evil is like the big one,
possibly
really.
His most favourite old Japanese thing.
Yeah, it's up there anyway with other big titles.
He's nodding.
Listen, he was born for this moment, so Liam, more than any time ever before, take it away, baby.
With the Resident Evil 2 remake just a week away, we thought it'd be worth taking a look back at the original Resident Evil 2 and the impressive legacy it left behind. But first, a bit of background. Back in 1996, the first Resident Evil was released worldwide for the PS1, and it was a smashing success for developer and publisher Capcom. RE1 was critically acclaimed, it was a bestseller in Japan, Europe and North America, and it was the game that named and defined the survival horror genre. Then just 1 month after development finished on the first Resident Evil, Capcom started work on a follow-up, and 2 years later in 1998, Resident Evil 2 was released for the PS1. Resident Evil 2 was planned to be more ambitious than its predecessor, featuring larger levels, more enemies, complex puzzles and sharper visuals. The story of Resident Evil 2 was also bigger in scope than the first game, moving the action from the claustrophobic Spencer Mansion to Raccoon City in the midst of a viral outbreak. RE2 also debuted 2 of the series' most beloved characters, Leon S. Kennedy, a rookie cop late for his first day on the job, and Claire Redfield, who's searching for her brother Chris, one of the stars of the first game. In terms of gameplay, RE2 was largely the same as the first Resident Evil, with players having to manage limited resources and solve puzzles in a fight for survival, while all manner of horrific creatures try and put a stop to that. Perhaps the biggest gameplay addition was the so-called zapping system, which increased the replay value of the game by offering 2 different story paths for both of the game's playable characters. But Resident Evil 2 was almost a completely different game to the final version we'd received in 1998, and series creator Shinji Mikami would later refer to the original version of RE2 as Resident Evil 1.5. This so-called 1.5 version of the game followed the same basic outline as the final retail version, with a zombie outbreak taking place in Raccoon City, but notably Claire Redfield was not present in 1.5 at all, with the second playable character being a biker called Elza Walker. 1.5 also lacked the gothic stylings of the final version, featuring more modern looking environments, and it was planned for Leon and Elza to never cross paths during the game, unlike the final version which features intertwining stories. Development on RE 1.5 was pretty rough by all accounts, with Mikami, who acted as a producer, having frequent disagreements with director Hideki Kamiya over the creative direction of the game, and Mikami kept trying to influence the development team with his own ideas. Eventually, Mikami decided to step back, taking an overseer role and only asking to be shown a demo once per month to see how development was progressing. However, when development on RE 1.5 was around 60 to 80% complete, Mikami doubted the game would be ready for the targeted May 1997 release date, and Resident Evil 1.5 was ultimately scrapped. 1.5 was also originally planned to be the end of the Resident Evil series, but supervisor Yoshiki Okamoto was critical of this decision, and he proposed the creation of an in-game universe to allow for future installments. Okamoto brought on screenwriter and self-proclaimed Resident Evil fan Noboru Sugimura to create the story for the new iteration of RE2, and his contributions included the reworking of Elza Walker into Claire Redfield to add a connection to the first game, expanding the series' lore to allow for future games to be made, and setting the overall tone for the game. In order to ease development a bit, Sugimura took the time to explain the plot changes to Mikami and the development team, who then started to redesign the game from the ground up to accommodate the changes. Development of RE2 quickly got back on track, and after all the hardships, creative disagreements, and reboot in development, Resident Evil 2 was finally released in 1998, and when the public finally got their hands on it, the game was a huge success. RE2 received critical acclaim from reviewers at the time. The original PS1 version currently has a Metacritic score of 89, and the game was a huge commercial success as well, selling 4.96 million copies during its initial run on the PS1. RE2 went on to become a classic of the survival horror genre and one of the most beloved games on the PS1. Resident Evil 2's enduring popularity led to numerous ports and re-releases over the years on many different platforms, such as the Nintendo 64, Sega Dreamcast, Nintendo GameCube, PC, and this thing, thegame.com. These re-releases usually featured extra content or enhancements, such as the Extreme Battle minigame, additional story connections to other games in the franchise, and updated graphics. Several characters from RE2, such as Leon, Claire, Ada, and Sherry, went on to become mainstays in the Resident Evil franchise, with all 4 returning in future installments as NPCs and playable characters. But with the remake due to release next week, Resident Evil 2 is back in the news and being given the attention it so rightly deserves. So there you go, folks, a look back at the original RE2, its troubled road to release, and the impressive legacy it's left behind. I've been Liam, see you next time.
Sometimes someone's born to perform.
Yeah.
That was
tears.
That
tears.
Was it. That was Liam's Mulholland Drive. Fucking come on.
He'd love that as well because
Liam likes
that's such a
David
very
Lynch.
good Liam reference.
Yeah,
that,
man.
You know.
Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that one because we only did about one.
You could have said Citizen Kane, but you said Mulholland Drive.
I know because
so
he likes David
good
Lynch.
That. You don't know how much that'll mean to Liam. Again, he's nodding.
Yeah, man. Well, a round of applause
Very
again
good.
for Liam. Everyone in the comments.
We actually haven't seen it, to be honest. We actually haven't seen what it is, but
it's not going to be bad though, is it? That's the thing. You know it's going to be good. So normally we do like a variety thing, but we've been so heavy on Resident Evil this week because
it's a big release. I think it's probably the first big release of the year, isn't it? And it's one that again is coming in January. It's Capcom coming out with the goods in the first month of the year straight away. So
absolutely. So if you weren't interested in Resident Evil 2. And maybe you are now, but if you still
demo,
at least you're like up to date. You know what I mean? You can't have a conversation with someone and not know what you're talking about.
It's like a 7 gig download. Give it a spin.
Yeah, we'll see you next time when we're not going to be doing one game. We'll just be doing like our regular stuff.
Goodbye, comrades.